War Eagle, War Rapport family. I'm your host, C-Dub, and we have a great show planned for you guys tonight as we'll be discussing all things surrounding Auburn football. Big Cat Weekend is back after a year hiatus, and we have a lot to discuss around that topic. And I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions as well. So, guys, be sure to get ready, get your weight up, because we are entering the war room.
You are now listening to the War Rapport. Wednesday night War Room. Brought to you by AuburnSports.com. Ike Jones. B. Will. C-Dub. Mike G. Let's go!
Woo! Oh my God.
That's me. War Eagle, guys. War Eagle. Come on in. You heard that right. At least I hope you heard that right. Things are a little different around here. We are now bringing the War Room live show is brought to you as part of a partnership with AuburnSports.com, guys. This is something that's been in the works for a minute. We've been, and it's actually have come organically as part of a natural relationship that we've just fostered with them. Starting with JG coming on months ago. He's come on several times, and it's coming to fruition. So we've never claimed to be expert or insiders or people who have scoops or these little hot takes or just make predictions about where recruits are going to go. Half the time, those recruits don't even know where they're going to go. But we figured we would leverage the guys who actually do that for a living. And so part of the things that is coming out of this partnership, guys, is we're going to leverage them. We got Big Cat coming up in another week or so. So we get to bring someone in from AuburnSports.com to actually talk about that and answer your questions. Oftentimes, you guys are going to ask us what are our thoughts. We'll give you our thoughts, but we figure it'll be valuable to bring those guys in to actually give you the inside scoop and make them available to where you can talk live with them. It's been very valuable when we brought Jeffrey Lee on, Brian Matthews recently, even JG. Those have been very, very valuable content pieces that we provided for you guys. And so we definitely want to continue to do that. And so for those who aren't aware, this is it. If you're coming in late, we've partnered with them. This is a partnership with the War Rapport and Auburn Sports. So if you're an insider, if you are a subscriber to us, what does that mean for you particularly? Mike G, you want to let them know what that means, bro?
Hey, listen. So this partnership brought to you by the good folks over at AuburnSports.com and our guy J.G. Tate, who was really our OG. Reached out. Yeah. I appreciate him just kind of bringing us into the Auburn content creator community. What this means is that you guys are going to get more focused content on recruiting. These guys have the scoop. We never claim to have the scoop, but these guys do have the scoop. So we're going to bring them in to talk to you guys regularly about that on Wednesday nights. So this partnership just means more information for you guys. It means more engagement. We're super excited to partner with them on this venture to really grow both our communities and do something that's not really being done out here. They stay in their lane, we stay in ours, and then when we drive next to each other, everybody's got to get behind, right? Because we got both lanes covered. So love JG, man. Appreciate the opportunity to partner with him and his guys over at Auburn Sports. So if you don't know about Auburn Sports, go check them out at auburnsports.com or auburn.rivals.com. And the bunker again will be in there. We'll be posting content and talking about source material that comes out of their forum. So we're super excited about that. Other than that, man, listen, become an insider. $5.99 a month. We have got, as evidenced by this partnership, we have got some exciting things coming down the pipe in the lead up to the season. So we really, really, really want you guys to be a part of what we're doing. And to do that, we need you guys to become insiders so that you can be a part of that. Our game day experience is going to be insider only. So we are going to chop it up with you pregame, halftime, postgame. Only insiders will be able to comment. We're going to keep that forum troll free during the season. We have a Monday film review that we're doing that will be insider only. If you're an insider right now, you already know about For the Record, where we break down specific advanced stats about the program. We got another one of those dropping tomorrow for our insiders. It's just a lot of stuff that you're going to be able to get as an insider. And if you've joined us in the last couple of weeks, then we're giving away tickets to the Akron game. So insiders automatically got 3 entries into that giveaway. So if you are an insider, you get 3 entries into our drawing for 2 tickets to the first home game of the season, which is the first game of the Brian Harsin era. Don't miss your chance. Supporters get 2 entries, and then you guys can do the calls to action week to week to actually get more entries in. Insiders can get up to 8. Supporters can get to 7. Regular subscribers can get up to 5 entries and increase your chances to win those tickets. So we're super excited about that. Our merch store is live. Please get your weight up and go check this out. The link is in the About section of our YouTube channel. We are also partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to help save animals. Thank you to everybody who's wished my dog, Albie, well wishes. She is on the mend. We had a rough night last night, but we're still figuring out. And I'm telling you, I would do anything for my dog. We want to help the Lee County Humane Society pair their rescues with other people who would do anything for their animals. They bring so much joy to our lives. Help us help people find that joy. So you can find this link, the GoFundMe link, in the About section of our YouTube channel as well. Please go there. 50 cents on every dollar goes to help them in their mission, which is also our mission. And then last but not least, we are giving away, in honor of the late Philip Lutzenkirchen, we're giving away a drawing handmade by our guy, James Coleman. That's War Eagle in the comments. We want to give this away to a lucky listener tonight. So I need you to drop hashtag Lutzie, Lutzie, in the comments to enter that drawing for this drawing. Thanks to James Coleman. If you haven't seen, he is a massively talented artist that sends us stuff all the time. We want to be able to give out Auburn memorabilia in the future. These things will be signed by some of the players. So you definitely want to keep an eye out for that. So we're getting the players to sign some of their drawings, which will be a real cool keepsake for a lot of our members. And that's it. So Wednesday War Room brought to you by AuburnSports.com. Get used to it.
The real sound effects coming, man. I'm almost there. We're gonna be ready for the season.
Almost there. All right. We're gonna have a real deal for you soon. I see some of you guys in the comments. It's not lost on us. Some of y'all are asking, where's Ike? Ike is around. And listen, we've been able to do a lot. You have to remember, we still work 9 to 5s. Or 8 to 5s. Okay. And we still manage to provide you guys great content. And one of the things that as we're continuing to grow, guys, as we're continuing to make partnerships happen, provide you gearing up for the fall season, providing you amazing content in the fall, content for subscribers, content for general listeners and watchers. It takes a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. And for us to, you don't see a lot of it, but we needed to take a step back and actually make sure that we had our affairs in order behind the scenes so that things will continue to look good for you guys. And so Ike, being a team player that he is, made a conscious decision. Hey, man, let me make sure we got our I's dotted, our T's crossed so that we can continue providing you great content. And the hope is that he will be back with us all to join. But he's doing a lot of the in and out, the day-to-day type of stuff that most people don't want to do, the ugly work. He's like a old lineman blocking for us, and we're getting all the points and all the shine. So that's where Ike is. If one of us can't make it, he'll fill in. So some of you guys have been seeing him off and on, but hopefully the goal is to get him back on soon. So it'll be the four of us like we officially started. He is very much a part of War Rapport. I tried to actually talk him into jumping on with us tonight, but no go there. But
man, you telling these lies, man. Listen, what happened was he got tired of losing these arguments with me and said,
"Well, ain't nobody tired of not losing
to break. I just need to take a break, Mike. I'm gonna come back. I want to get my thesis, my central thesis together, and
Mike, that's cap. That's cap, right?
Over cap. Okay, all right.
Stop capping.
I feel that. No, I'm lying. Brian would be the first to quit, obviously. So anyway, I'm excited tonight, guys. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited tonight, guys. I got a lot of messages from you all on Twitter and Facebook Messenger about tonight's show. There's some things floating around in the Auburn stratosphere that we're definitely excited to talk about. So, yeah, I'm excited. Happy to be here.
What I'm also excited about, too, guys, is the fact that let's just go ahead and get into it. But Big Cat Weekend is back. Yeah. And I was curious about this. I was wondering, was this a thing in the past? Because we know this was introduced by Gene Chizik and the staff back in 2009, and it's been Auburn's biggest recruiting weekend of the year, right? An opportunity for them to just not even deal with recruiting, but just a weekend where they have fun, play games, to just do the whole nine in terms of building relationships with other recruits, the coaching staff, getting them familiarized with Auburn, in that whole ordeal. So they're bringing it back. This used to be a May event, but of course that was during the dead period this year. So of course they pushed it back, and it will be July 25th. As of right now, they haven't named. I think that they have. I don't think there's any names officially named just yet. I think Bobo's kid may be there. Yeah. The O lineman, and I think Damari Alston. It hasn't been announced, but I believe he's supposed to actually commit on the 25th of this month. So it'll be interesting to see if he's actually coming there. That could actually set up really nice for us. But just want to get you guys' thoughts in terms of Big Cat Weekend coming back and how it's going to look under a new coaching staff with Brian Harsin. Be what you got for me, bro.
I thought this was out the door. I thought this was the last staff's thing. I know Chizik started it, but I didn't really hear about it until Gus. And then as soon as he got down to UCF, I saw some tweets. It was like Big Bounce House Weekend or something. I was like, oh, okay. So maybe this was a last staff thing. They're taking it to the new spot, and that's not our thing anymore. I'm glad we have it, but let me say this. I don't think having a focused big time recruiting weekend by itself is that big a deal unless you're landing the guys that you're getting into your facility, because we have been doing Big Cat Weekend for what? At least the past 8 years?
2009. Gene Chizik. Okay. Gene Chizik actually started it.
Yeah.
So 11 years, and we were still, when it came to the recruits that were eyeballing Bama, Georgia, LSU, Clemson, we're losing on those guys. We were consistently losing on the biggest difference-making recruits under the last administration. So Big Cat Weekend may have got us. We've got good players. We have always been able to get good players. We know they had a certain recruiting focus before as far as who they wanted to get, where they wanted to get them from. And a lot of that depended on relationships with high school coaches in certain areas. But we got who we got. And I don't think one weekend makes that big of a difference. It comes down, who's your position coach? Who are y'all putting in the league? What is my production going to be like in my position? Am I going to get playing time? Those are the questions that need to be answered. Big Cat Weekend is a great way to get people on campus, get them high-fiving the other really good recruits, so maybe they can build some rapport and you can kind of sell them your picture of what you want them to be at the exact same time. I don't know how many times we heard, hey, I really like the idea of coming here and playing with him. Yeah, but that didn't really happen that much. So I don't know how much it was worth. It still comes down to who is your staff? What are they able to pitch these guys? Are they able to follow through? and close the deal. And one weekend, or if it's spread out over 3-4 months, it's no difference. I don't see, it's not that big a deal. It's cool, but it's going to make a difference if this staff can sell the product, which is the program. And I don't think that changes too much yet because our staff hasn't had a chance to sell the program yet. So,
what you got, Mike?
I think there's an angle here that B's missing in that this new Big Cat weekend will be focused around getting recruits into a community that will ultimately pay them money because of
That's
NIL,
yeah,
right? So you come and you immerse them in the craziness that is Auburn football culture in Auburn, Alabama, right? The communities, the businesses there that will ultimately ask players to be spokesmen for their businesses. And now Big Cat Weekend is going to be about exposing players to a community that can enrich them also financially as well as their talent on the football field. So I don't disagree with B. I do believe that ultimately show it on the field, show that you can develop, and then you just got to land the guys that you get on talent. You can get them there, but if you're not landing a high number of those guys, it doesn't matter. But now there's an ulterior motive to get guys on campus, and that motive is the money. And the money is definitely going to be there. And it's just something that we can definitely capitalize on because we have this sort of crazy football culture that will pay thousands of dollars to a player who has proved nothing at the college level just to be at Auburn, right? So I'm all about players getting paid and getting theirs. Obviously, the market, I think, will drive the value of that. So, some people will pay just because they love Auburn. Others will want something in return for their investment into the program or into the player, which means exposure for their business. So, you're going to see something different here, right? Like if I'm a player and I'm going to Big Cat Weekend, I'm thinking, can I promote my brand from the Auburn platform? Look at what we've seen so far. It's getting posted around and all about Auburn, all these trademarked logos that these players are coming out with. Tank Bigsby has a trademark logo. Sean Shivers has a trademark logo, right? I just think Smoke's got his own deal, and there's some stuff there that's really marketable as well too. First of all, let's talk about the fact that Smoke Monday is the coolest name we've had come wear a jersey at Auburn in a while. I love his name, Smoke Monday, right? So
I love his IG handle too.
Yeah, listen, there's so much good marketing materials to that, and same with Tank.
Yeah,
these guys, their name, if they can back that up with good play, is going to mean something in this community. So Big Cat Weekend is a chance for our administration to show not only how it will benefit them long term as far as their athletics and their education, but now in the short term, where the community will. The community was doing it anyway. When I was in school, I can't tell you how many doors just opened for me because people thought I was a football player.
Yeah.
Not people writing me checks, but I'm just saying, you skip to the front of the line. Oh, this guy's with the team.
Yeah.
Right. That sort of thing, but times 10 now. Yeah. Because it's legal to do it. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. If they can't get busted for taking $5 from some business to show up and eat a sandwich, I think there are abundance of opportunities for that at Auburn. Certainly.
Right.
So now
there's go ahead.
No, I was just saying now we have that to sell as well.
Yeah. The more I think about it, because I missed a couple of the shows where we were really getting into the NIL stuff. But on one hand, I was thinking, okay, for example, we know Bo's got the Milo's deal, right? Mm-hmm. Is anybody in the South who likes football, did they not know about Milo's tea already? Right. I'm being for real here because these businesses are saying, let me give you money for exposure for my thing. Milo's tea doesn't need exposure. It sounds like a good pat on the back. I like this school. I like that school type of thing, which is cool. I don't think anything's wrong with that. So, hey, Bo, get your money. But if I am not a very, very profitable business, I'm going to be thinking really carefully about whatever it is I'm giving these guys and who am I giving it to? What do I expect from them?
Right.
Because like you said, I think stop throughs. If I say, hey, Tank Bigsby's going to be here. We talked about this a month ago. Tank Bigsby's going to stop by the club Friday night. That's worth the money because you know what? That club's going to be packed out to see Tank Bigsby. He don't have to do anything but stand in the corner and dap up a couple people coming in the door. And you know what? People are going to take pictures and they're going to tell you about the time they met Tank Bigsby in the club. And it's going to be worth it for that club owner just for what he gets for cover and alcohol for the night. But any other business, like what circumstances exist where a college football player that may not be a star player? I think very few players it makes sense for. The rest, I don't know. Like I want them to get it, but I worry about like as a business, like is that return worth it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Hey, while we're here, right quick, I just want to shout out my guy Chalmers Wright for becoming a member. He hit us up earlier today. Welcome to the family. Also, Mr. Zach Blackerby in the house.
Hey, welcome.
Listen,
what's up, man?
if you don't know about Zach over at Locked On Auburn, you're missing some really, really good Auburn content. So I chopped it up with Zach the other night, just about all things Auburn. He's just a super great guy. I really like what he's doing over there in podcast form and podcast world. So go check out Locked On Auburn. We certainly talked about some of his podcasts on the show before. So I'm happy to see Zach here in our community, hanging out with ourselves
and writing for USA Today too. So congrats on that.
Congrats. I guess for me too, I think I know we talked about NIL, but I think Big Cat Weekend is going to really, in my opinion, pay dividends for the 2023 class and beyond, right? I think this is a whole, it's almost getting your foot in the door with some of these recruits to just find out who are you exactly? What is this staff about? What are y'all's personalities? Like, is my position coach cool? You know what I mean? What are the players saying about them? Right. Mm-hmm. So this is an opportunity to do that, but then you also have the season to kind of show and prove what you're able to do moving forward under this new staff. And I just think it's a good opportunity, depending on who they're able to grab, but they're going to get some big names. They had a pretty impressive list of kids come by last month in the month of June. So I'm interested to see who from 2023 and beyond they're able to get on campus for this big weekend. And hopefully it's something they've had in the works and it's an impressive list. I'm pretty sure they're going to go after some 2022 kids, but just as we've been saying for since this coaching staff has been here, they've been behind the 8 ball. And so they're going to get who they can. And so I'm glad to see that they're in a running for Damari Alston and, a few other 4-star kids. That's amazing because a lot of the other big schools have had a lead on a lot of these kids that we would have liked to be in the running for. So I just look forward to that. And again, to your point, Mike G, NIL has changed a lot. Yep. It's changed how you recruit these kids. And on a big weekend like that, it is an opportunity to show these kids how you can not only get a quality, and you're no longer selling some of these kids on an education anymore. You're selling them on how to build your brand, right? Which could carry on beyond college, right? And so there are a lot of guys who are at Auburn right now who are able to start businesses based off of who they were when they were players. Right. And so this opportunity provides an opportunity for these kids to really set themselves up to really be successful beyond college, depending on how well they do it. So more will be revealed as more comes out. I'm pretty sure we may have more details when they release a name or some names. We can talk about it on this upcoming Sunday on the weekend tailgate, but we'll more be revealed. We'll know more who's coming and whatnot. But all we need to know is Big Cat Weekend is definitely back. And another thing you guys need to know is that the Wednesday Night War Room is brought to you in partnership with auburnsports.com. So just want to remind you guys of that. If you want information as far as recruiting and other information regarding the Auburn program, Auburn athletics, please be sure to check out Auburn Sports for your info. Mike G, please let the people know who's gotten on late, what we got coming up, sir.
Yeah, listen, we are massively excited about this upcoming season. So for those of you who have just become insiders, thank you so much. Zach and Chalmers will be entered into a drawing for 2 tickets to the Akron game. We're so massively excited about being able to give back to our community in this way. So as a thank you to you guys for being part of our community, and everybody really, whether you're an insider or not, your views, your likes, your comments mean a lot to our channel and the growth of our channel and our ability to be able to bring you even more content like we're going through this partnership with Auburn Sports and Mr. JT Tate. So becoming an insider, the film reviews you're definitely not going to want to miss during the season. I'm so excited about the opportunity to watch a game with you guys, chop the film up, and then come back and talk about it play for play on Mondays. It's going to be an insider exclusive. So you definitely want to be a part of that. You can just go to our YouTube channel, click the join button if you're on a computer or Droid phone. If you're on an iPhone, find a computer. It's a little difficult from an iPhone because of Apple and their App Store fees. But if you subscribe from a computer, your perks will transfer to your iPhone. You just have to be logged in with the same account and username. So become an insider. If you don't know if it's worth it, ask any insider in here right now. They'll tell you that the content that they get is definitely worth the $5.99 a month that they pay. We are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to help save animals. Again, I keep thanking you guys every week, but thank you to everybody who continues to reach out to me about my rescue, Aubie. She was having some seizures, and we've been going through some health things, and I'm still hopeful that we'll be on the other side of that. But she brings a lot of joy to my life, and we want to help the Lee County Humane Society pair the animals that they're rescuing with other people who will find joy in having a rescue animal in their life. So you can go to the About section of our YouTube channel to find this link. 50 cents on every dollar goes to them. The other 50 goes to us to help us grow our platform so we can continue to raise money for them. But we are so excited about that partnership as well, too. This is a good that we've chosen to put back into the world. And, there are only a few causes that I truly believe in. This is one of them. Our merch store is live. Get your weight up. You can also find this link in the About section of our YouTube channel. And if you missed it at the top of the broadcast, we are giving away this drawing of the late Philip Lessenkirchen, Auburn great. Philip was an Auburn man, probably had one of the most iconic catches and dances in the history of Auburn football. So, he caught the touchdown that beat Alabama in the 2010 Iron Bowl in the comeback. So we want to give this away. This is actually drawn by our guy, James Coleman. He has War Eagle in the comments. Thank you, James, for donating these pictures. We have some other pictures that we'll be giving away that James drew that will be signed by those players. So we obviously could not get this one signed, but the others will be signed. So hashtag Let's See in the comments. Check your spelling, make sure it's spelled correctly. We got a good amount. We got 40 entries in here, almost 200 people in here. So I'm looking to see that up near 100 by the hour mark. But hashtag Let's See in the comments to enter that drawing for this, and we'll get that right out to you guys.
Let's talk about this real quick. Shout out Lawrence Robinson, man, one of our regulars in here. Good dude. We talked about this offline, me and Mike did. Want to point out that we talked about Demetrius Robertson coming to Auburn from Georgia, the transfer, and the competition that it's going to create for that room. And one of the things we touched on it very lightly is there was concerns about felony charges brought up against him. And there's a writer out of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution who, it's almost like the moment this kid committed to Auburn, he hit send on this article, and just a smear. Just a smear campaign on this kid. Well, the charges got dropped, and they let him have it on Twitter. So I enjoyed that. I'm pretty sure others following the story enjoyed it as well. But just I think this is good. I think this speaks to the fact that we easily kind of dismiss that concern, because I have to trust that as much money as Harsin and those guys are making, they know if a kid is probably going to face some serious legal trouble, it's probably not good to recruit this kid and bring him on, right? I'm sure these coaches knew that these charges were going to be dropped, that they knew that this was going to be, a short-lived situation. And so the fact that this was dropped, less than a week after this kid committed to us, pretty telling about how on top of it they was of the situation. And when you even find out what he was being charged for, it was hard to believe that was going to stick anyway. Just pay the money and get it over with.
That's the main point, right? This is why I love what we do, right? The rush to be first a lot of times overpowers the need to be right.
Right.
And just because you can write something doesn't mean you should write something. So I'm not going to get too down on this writer. I'm just telling you, when you're talking, everybody thinks all good until it's their reputation that somebody's writing about. And, these kids, I mean, it was a silly thing that he did. Okay. Right. Like the emphasis on the fact that it was a felony, and it's saying it's going to follow him to Auburn like some ominous ghost. Right. It's just going to that's going to haunt him for the rest of his life.
And bring down the program.
Yeah, he was doing the most on that article. It was just unnecessary. Now, in terms of the player, this is a great chance for him to prove a lot of doubters wrong. And he's walking into a wide receiver room with not a ton of experience. Now, I said this on the last broadcast, we return only 15% of our receiving yardage from last year. That's our lowest number in almost 2 decades in terms of returning receiving yardage. So there is a ton of talent in our wide receiver room, just not a ton of experience. Right. And I don't think it's going to be super easy for him to crack the starting rotation, because these guys I think it's a highly competitive wide receiver room. And what we've heard from players, parents, from everybody, that it's the coaches are selling competition. Nobody's job is secure. And the only person we can honestly say his job is secure on the whole team, there's 2 players, maybe like Zacoby McClain and Tank Bixby.
Basically.
Everybody else's jobs. Yeah, it may be smoked, right? Like everybody else's jobs are up for grabs. And I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, this guy has a chance. And why this is important, right, is because the portal has changed the game. So if these portal players that Harsin has gone out and find success here, it will signal to other talent that if the school you originally picked did not know what to do with your talent, let me go to these guys because they have the formula.
Right. So
things like Big Cat Weekend, while they were nice, become a lot less important, because you can go to the portal and find grade A talent. He was a number 1 overall wide receiver, I think like a number 8 overall recruit in 2016.
Yeah.
So this is not a lot of people, almost a consensus top 10 player in the country coming out of high school. So you just have to imagine, when you're looking at him coming in, why this kid is important is because in terms of recruiting, it's a chance for this staff, especially at a position where I would say we've been waning in terms of development, to show that they know what they're doing in terms of evaluation and development. So if they're taking this guy, you have 1 year left to play, you have to believe it's because they think he can contribute.
Right.
Otherwise, why risk upsetting the balance of your wide receiver room for a 1-year guy if he's not going to play? I believe he'll play. I just don't think. Yeah, I just don't think it's a given that he's going to start from game 1 or anything like that. Honestly.
And if he's the catalyst that pushes these guys even more, right?
Right.
Then so be it. I'm all for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so again, if he's selling competition, man, I just want to see these guys get better. I want to see these guys get better as a group and as a unit, right? So what you got, B? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm glad the charges got dropped. It feels $700. As a matter of fact, as soon as he committed to us, he posted a sponsorship deal. So that cash probably paid off the fine. Shoot, I mean, NIL already working for us. You know what I mean? So I'm glad he got it taken care of. I'm glad that the kid is here. I think we spoke about this on Sunday. I am not so down on our wide receiver group, and as other people were. I know the spring was rough. We had some people out, and the coaches, every person we've talked to, especially our sources from 24 the other day with auburnsports.com, they were saying that the coaches said that they were down on the wide receiver production. Like they were disappointed in what our wide receivers showed during the spring. And that was like, I kind of expect fans, because fans don't really know. Fans don't see the training room. Fans don't see the drills. Fans don't see what coaches ask them to do in the film room. And they don't see how close the kids got to performing what the coaches asked them to do. The coaches see that. So if the coaches said, yeah, it was a little rough for the wide receivers, now I'm concerned about the wide receivers. But we didn't have our most experienced wide receivers available. And on top of that, it's a brand new offense. Like your quarterback can't run the wide receivers through their paces. The quarterbacks are in hyper, Cliff Notes mode as far as learning playbooks and exercising and even running from under center for the first time in forever. So there wasn't a lot of progress. If anybody could make progress this spring, the wide receivers can make the least, because as Mike says all the time, they are very dependent on another position. And that other position underwent a full overhaul this spring. So I'm glad this guy is here as somebody who's taken snaps, in a pro-style system, as somebody who has 1 year left. I do not mind at all if we end up being kind of, and not in the exact same reason those guys left, but last chance you. Right. You need to prove something. You are here to prove something. You got one shot. This is your last shot, because there's nowhere from here that's going to take you. That's actually going to get you to where you want to go. This is where you show it. And if you show it here, you're going to go to the next level.
Facts.
And I love guys having that pressure. That pressure is you're going to show it, or you are going to flame out, and it's going to be bad for you from here. So I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he's here for the room, but I am not down on our wide receiver group. I'm not.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, agreed. Shout out to Jonathan Harris. Basically, this sums it all. The cream will rise to the top. Fall camp is going to be like a gladiator arena. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm excited about who's going to emerge on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, competition.
With everyone who's here, who's going to be number one, who's going to be number two, who's going to rise, who's going to fall. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, guys. For sure. Let's talk about some news that came out as far as media days. I believe that's coming up next week, right?
So excited about this.
Yeah. So Harsin is going to be up next Thursday, and he's bringing two guys with him, and they are Bo Nix and Owen Papo.
Yeah.
So, I was surprised a little bit. I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked with Bo.
No.
But I would have picked McLean if you'd asked me. But he's taking Owen Papo with him. What are you guys' thoughts about Harsin and these two guys he's taking with him to media days? I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, this is typical. I'm curious to see what's going to come out of some of these statements that these kids are going to make, as well as Harsin. So I'm eager to see what Bo says as it pertains to Bobo and Harsin. That's going to be something I'm going to be looking forward to hearing. Of course, Papo is going to be raving about the defense. But what are you guys' thoughts about this?
Listen, man, Bo has had some interview mishaps.
Game manager.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like, so I hope that they clean that up and he goes and just toasts the company line. Don't give any bulletin board material to our upcoming SEC games, and go do your talking on the field with your play. So it is an honor to be chosen to go to media days by your coach.
Yeah.
to represent your program to the conference. So I think that says a lot about what they think of Bo as a person, right?
Like a team spokesman.
Yeah. Listen, it's not always about taking your best player. It's about taking your best spokesman who will represent the program, in a articulate and an eloquent way. So they feel like Bo that can do that. Congratulations to Bo on being chosen for that. Same with Owen on the defensive side of the ball, right? Like, this is a guy that they've chosen to go and speak for and represent that side of the ball in SEC media days. And I don't think it can be understated that to be chosen for that by a first-year head coach at that is first-year head coach at Auburn. I think that is an honor that cannot be understated. Now, in terms of what it means about, I see there was a question here by Mac Longway about what it means in terms of the competition between TJ Finley and Bo. Nothing.
Right.
I think it means absolutely nothing.
Right.
I think that competition is exactly where it was when TJ Finley decided he was going to come to Auburn, because there have been no practices. There's been nothing for TJ Finley to actually insert himself into the competition in any way other than just workouts and intangibles. But that's not going to be enough to win the starting job before game one. So picking Bo, I think, is a reflection of that. You're taking your guy who's going to start game one, which is not a secret to anybody.
Right.
Whether he's still starting by game 4 will largely be in part due to him. His destiny is his own hands, right? When you get the start, if you do the job, you'll keep the job. And that's what it boils down to. So I don't think that it means anything in terms of the competition. Coaches are going to evaluate. They're going to continue to evaluate. Besides last year's tape, they don't have anything to evaluate on Finley.
Right.
So you can't throw that guy out there. I'd be almost in favor of them playing Davis before Finley. At least you've had him for a spring, and he's a senior system, and I don't know, but I'm not down on Finley either. I think that he is another guy with just like Bo, just in some different ways. He's got a high talent ceiling, and he can go out there and he can sling the rock, man. Listen, he's got all the arm strength. I've seen him throw darts.
Yeah.
I think the game, just like for Bo, is up here for him.
Yeah.
And the quarterback that figures this part out first is going to get an edge in Brian Harson's offense, because this is something different, guys. This isn't looking at a picture of, Bo Jackson on a card on the sideline and saying, oh, that play. That's not what this is.
For sure.
Right. It's been widely reported that Harsin likes his quarterbacks to wear wristbands. And what that tells you is there's a lot of information that they're going to have to process.
Yeah.
And I think that the quarterback that can show that they can process that information pre-snap, post-snap, and make good decisions is going to be Harsin's favorite child.
Yeah.
So what does it mean in terms of the competition? Not a whole lot, right? Because TJ Finley hasn't gotten a chance to show anything yet.
Correct.
This competition will be about what the guy who they choose to start shows first, and whether they decide that's good enough or whether they need to give somebody else a shot.
I mean, I just think it's based off of who they like the most coming out of spring, the people that they saw on either side of the ball. I think they liked what they saw out of Bo. They liked what they saw out of Owen. These are some of the guys who got some praise, whether it was what's the award they give over the weekend for the guys in the weight room? Iron Man. Like, these guys have won that award. These guys were getting positive feedback during spring. So I think that's a lot of that is made from what those guys have done in the off season to get to this point. And I think it's well deserved. I mean, they consistently gotten praise from this coaching staff. So it doesn't surprise me to see these guys in that position. Question from Patrick Perry is, how do y'all think Harsin will handle Bama and the UGA questions? You know, Harsin to me he's not a flashy guy.
Okay.
He's not a flashy guy. Now, you know, I get a kick out of the school up north comment, but I just don't think he's going to give the media much to me. He's just kind of a hard nose. I'm gonna do the interview, but you know, I don't see a lot coming from him in that regard. I think he'll be kind of direct up front about where we are as a program and that the whole elder statesman speech for Auburn football. But I don't see any stories being made up of anything exciting or out of the cuff that he's gonna say. I just don't. But B, what about you?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Nah. He's not gonna give anybody any ammunition.
No.
He's not like a certain guy whose name rhymes with Timothy Sisher and give anybody any long try to kind of rah-rah speech to try to rile up the fan base, because that's nonsense. You go out there and you win the games. I think he knows that. As somebody who's coming from where he's coming from, big talk would not be what he came here to do. He came here because he thinks he can transform a top tier program into an elite level program. He thinks he has the blueprint to do it. He thinks he has the strategy. He thinks he has a sound plan for infrastructure. We've seen how he's changed staffing and recruiting and their approach for recruiting. He has a plan to turn Auburn into not the little brother in the state, which is what we've been pretty much outside of 2010 since Nick Saban's been there. He wants it to be about the program that he's building and where he's at. So even though all these questions are going to be about, well, you know, you're stepping into this job and you got Bama and you got Georgia, you got LSU, he's going to have to quietly eat those questions. And I know it's probably going to be burning them up inside, because I don't know how many times, how would any of us feel you go to work and you do your job and all they can ask you about, hey man, what do you think about this guy over there in that department? It's like, I don't care. Right. I'm doing my job. I came here to do something that I want to do and be good at it. So yeah, I just got here, but just give me a little time. Let's have this conversation next year. Right. In the next year, when I've surpassed expectations, or in 2 years when I've beaten this guy that y'all kept asking me about, and ask him about me. Like, I don't think he has this go and make a big splash in the media attitude. That's not who he is.
No, that's definitely not.
But I mean, that's the game, because we're in this state, we're in this conference. Nick Saban's right there. He's the most successful college coach ever. So you're going to get those questions, and he knew what he was signing on for. So, you know, he won't give him any ammunition though. He'll just answer and say, I like our program and I like what we're building. And that's what I want to hear from him.
I think he's going to say, we're here to win championships, and you win championships by beating teams on your schedule. So next question. He's not here to lose to them. That's not why he got hired. Right. So I really hate that. I hate when the media asks questions that are obvious gotcha questions, hoping that a coach will go out there and pull a Lane Kiffin or any of one of these other eccentric coaches who you know are going to give you a soundbite. Harsin's not going to do that.
Yeah, and I think you got enough guys. You got enough guys in our conference now who will do that. Mike Leach, Kiffin. Harsin's going to fly under Harsin's going to fly under the radar with those guys.
And he's not going to set that example for his players. Right. You know.
Right.
Facts.
Right. He's not going to want them going out there and doing that. So you got to lead by example and just go out there and give the answer. I want to jump back here real quick, Caesar, before we move on to Mac, because he's still on this this competition thing. I just want to say this about competition and depth. The two go hand in hand. Right. So saying that it's more for depth is saying that they want them to compete. Because the only way you can have true depth is if the guy at number 2 is an actual threat to take the job. If he's not, then you don't really have depth. And that's what we experienced under Gus.
Which is why Finley is there in the first place.
Correct. The gap between 1 and 2 has been as wide as the Grand Canyon for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
And we've been sold every single year by our last coach that we really feel like we got 2 guys who can do the job, only for guy number 2 to get in and look like he never threw a football. So in comparison to the guy who won the job.
Right.
And when Jerry Johnson won the job, or got the job after Nick Marshall, I think that was the last time going into a season we really felt like we had an heir apparent.
Right.
And then it didn't happen for whatever reason. I still put all that on coaching. I'm in the camp that thinks that Jeremy Johnson could play football, and in another program he would have been very, very successful and possibly playing at the next level.
Right.
You know, and then we had years after that where all we saw were our number twos go on to do nothing, transfer out. And now we got the Malik Willis fiasco where he left the program as a number two to be in talks as a top 10 pick, a first round pick going into next year's draft. So competition and depth are the same thing, right? Like you cannot create depth without true competition where the guy behind the guy can actually take the job, and it's really just a flip. That's what the better programs are doing, people.
Yeah.
They all have number twos that can come in. Like that year that we beat Bama in that Iron Bowl, I remember after that game, when I saw what Mac Jones did, I told everybody, listen, if I were a Bama fan, I wouldn't be hanging my head about that performance. And I know he threw 2 pick sixes. One bounced off somebody's back. But I thought he played admirably.
When he wasn't throwing pick sixes, he was shredding us.
He was throwing touchdowns. Right.
All right, that's enough of that, guys.
Come on now. All I'm saying is it just seems like everybody else has their number two ready to go, and there's not much of a drop off. When Trask got hurt and Emory Jones had to come in when we played them, I remember thinking, oh man, we're going to get a break. And then he came in and looked serviceable until Trask came back. Where has that been at Auburn? So competition and depth are the same thing. You cannot have one without the other. That's all I'm saying.
As we get ready to transition, I do want to harp on something that Dallas Schwartz basically posted. Could Coach Harsin taking Bo be his way of sending a message? You have a chance to win the job. What you do with it is up to you. What you do here goes to what kind of leader you can be. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, and I think that message was sent prior to him even selecting Bo to come with him to media days.
Yeah,
I think that's been communicated to Bo, and I think this is why Bo has responded the way he has. I think it's going to be an ongoing competition in the fall. How do you handle given the reps and the opportunities you get in the fall? What are you going to do game one? What are you going to do on the road against Penn State? You got to compete every time you get out there. And so I think he sent that message loud and clear to Bo. It's up to Bo at this point.
Yeah, facts.
Which brings us to an article that recently came out about Pro Football Focus ranking all 130 college QBs. And the way they did some of them, of course, some of these schools, they don't know who their starter is. So, of course, they may name one or two quarterbacks. But they basically broke these QBs off into tiers. And there's only one quarterback, according to Pro Football Focus, which is in a tier 1, which is elite. And that's Oklahoma's quarterback, Spencer Rattler. Behind him is everybody else. Now, in tier 2, we have a few quarterbacks from our conference, which is pretty much who we're highlighting here. And this is the list as follows. So in tier 2, which are high ceiling QBs, according to Pro Football Focus, is that you have Matt Corral of Ole Miss at number 6. Behind him is Miles Brennan at LSU at number 9. Emory Jones, shout out to Emory Blake, former receiver at Auburn. Emory Jones at Florida comes in at 14. Connor Bezalak, hope I didn't butcher your name, at Mizzou comes in at 15. Alabama's Bryce Young comes in at 22. They're not as high on JT Daniels. Some people have been singing this kid's praises as being a potential Heisman contender. Maybe he is. Pro Football Focus isn't exactly sold on him, but they think he can be good, obviously. Tier 3 is Hendon Hooker, who's a transfer from Virginia Tech at Tennessee. Only SEC QB in tier 3. In tier 4 is Bo Nix. Now, according to them, he's basically what they consider an average quarterback. What they mean by that is one of two things. You've had some great performances followed by not so good performances, or you've just been consistent throughout your career. Okay. So in tier 5, these are quarterbacks who either need more reps to determine what we know about them, or they actually need to just simply get better. You have Will Rogers, Jack Abraham of Mississippi State, KJ Jefferson in Arkansas, Will Levi at Kentucky. I don't see a certain person from Kentucky being mentioned there. 98 is Zach Calzada and Haynes King of Texas A&M, Ken Seals at Vandy, and Luke Doty at South Carolina. So basically, right in the middle of this list of quarterbacks is kind of the back half, actually, is Bo Nix, according to Pro Football Focus. Now, one of the things that we've talked about has been inconsistency for Bo. We've gotten killed for that in the past, but apparently this has been kind of the thing that other people are seeing from Bo, is the inconsistency. I want to start with you, Mike G. When you look at that list, when you look at where they have Bo, and you look at him actually one of the leaders at Auburn, new coaching staff, new coach, new offense, fresh start. What does all this mean to you?
So we've got 2 years of sample size here with some of these quarterbacks. And when you look at some of the quarterbacks that are ranked above him, they haven't had a chance to show how good or bad they are, but their rankings are primarily based on how those systems have generally developed quarterbacks. I'm talking about Florida. Miles Brennan, I thought looked impressive before he got hurt last year. As a matter of fact, he was leading the SEC in yards passing before he got hurt. He played a few games and was over 1,000 yards like that, right, on all SEC schedule, and then got hurt. Right. So there's a lot of talent around the league. Bo has as much talent as anybody on that list. I'll say it again for the people in the back. Bo has as much talent as anybody on that list. But realizing that talent has a lot to do with where you're ranked. So they've seen 2 years of that. And despite whatever you might think about setbacks that he's had because of COVID and changing offensive coordinators or whatnot, there are just some basic quarterback things that he has not done well enough to garner a higher ranking, regardless of how high his ceiling is. So I think that, there was one that we looked at that had him in tier 5. I didn't think that was fair. But I think that he is a tier 3, tier 4 quarterback based on results. Not where you hope he'll be, because you can't just ignore the 2 years of what he's done. And when you factor out when you look at advanced stats and you factor out things like offensive line play and receiver play, there's still a lot there to work on, and that's what a tier 4 ranking suggests to me. You're a starting quarterback in the SEC, man, so you presumably have talent.
Yeah.
His tier 4 ranking is about what he's done with that talent so far.
Correct.
He can rise on this list. He hasn't earned a higher ranking yet. Now, there are some guys on the list that they're giving the benefit of the doubt, certainly, who have achieved nothing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, these lists don't mean a lot. What means a lot is your play. Go out there and show them why they're right or wrong. They got Bryce Young ranked up there in tier 2.
Right.
He'll go out on the field and prove whether he deserves that or he doesn't.
Jonathan Harris, Spencer Rattler was the only quarterback they put in tier 1.
Yeah.
Just to answer your question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
So, I mean, that's all I think about it. It's Bo has a lot to prove this year. He's got a lot to prove this year. And I don't think that he has to win the Heisman like some people are trying to put on him to prove it. He just has to go out there and, when given time, be more accurate. Set his feet, go through his reads, basically show our coach that he has command of the offense and he's going to try to do the things that they want him to do.
Right.
Raise the level of the play around you, be a good leader, all those things. And then what I expect is for our run game to help him a ton. But he can help them a ton by just going out there and making some throws that he missed last year or that he's missed his freshman year. Make some of those throws and the heat comes off a whole lot. That's all I'm saying, regardless of offensive line play.
So basically become the same thing you accused Mac Jones of being last year.
What do you mean? Why accuse him?
Basically be the same thing he accused Mac Jones of being, a game manager.
Okay.
Oh, I never said Mac Jones was a game manager.
No, he said.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. But listen,
manage the game.
Yeah, well, Mac Jones left as top 2 most accurate quarterbacks in SEC history. The pro scouts were raving over his ball placement. It was immaculate. Go out there and just you don't even have to be that accurate. Just go out there and be more accurate than you were. Because there were a lot of inaccurate balls that got caught last year. For as much as we kind of gripe on our receivers a lot, they caught a lot of balls that were thrown off target. That's a stat that they keep. You can go back and check that. Off target throws that got caught.
Yeah.
Credit to the receiver. We don't give them enough credit for all the balls that they got thrown behind them that they could not make a play after the catch. And sometimes that's the difference between a touchdown and a 5-yard play. As ball placement. Put the ball out in front and give your playmakers an opportunity to make a play after the catch. When the ball's in the right place. Put it where only the defender can get it. That's the thing that he has to do better this year. That's it. That's all I'm putting on Bo for 2021. Improve your accuracy and your ball placement, and I think we'll have a pretty good season, and it will help these receivers a lot. The system should focus on getting the ball out of his hands quickly.
We saw that in spring.
Yeah, help him go through his reads faster. Because we have 2 years of history that says when he runs around in the backfield, not good things it's a coin flip. And you can't go through a whole season of coin flips. So that's all he has to do better. I don't think people are real Heisman or bust on Bo, right? And I've been hard on his play so far, but I've never been against Bo. I'm just saying, like, hey, listen, can we just acknowledge that all his problems are not other people's fault? I believe Gus hurt him. I don't think that all of his problems were Gus's fault, though, just like it wasn't all the receivers' fault or the offensive line's fault.
Right.
There are basic quarterback things that he can go out there and do. If he did them, it would already elevate him from tier 4 to tier 3.
Right.
A tier 4 ranking is about the things that are just quarterback things that you do not do consistently
enough.
Yeah, that's it. That's all that means. You're a starting quarterback in the SEC, so you presumably have tier 1, tier 2 talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's where I'm at about it. I just don't think. I think the consistency things will be the difference between whether he's still starting by game 5 or not.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're inconsistent through these first 4 games, I think the coaches will resign themselves to move on. Certainly.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact too that there's a lot of uncertainty around the coaching staff that he has. Right. I think he has the talent, but you don't know what Harsin can do at the SEC with this kind of talent or with this type of quarterback. So you can't move him up, even if you want to. You have to judge him based on what he's done with someone as a coach who doesn't do well with quarterbacks. Right. This is a lot of this is an indictment to me on our previous head coach. Yeah, but B. Will, what are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this list is a referendum on the coaches at those schools, and that's it. That is 95% of what it is, because Spencer Rattler did not look unstoppable last year. He played an entire season. He looked shaky for half the year. They lost a couple games. It was a weird year. I know it was a weird year. But if you're telling me
as the year went on,
he got better. Lincoln Riley, what has he done with the last 4 quarterbacks he's had? Heisman, draft pick, now starting quarterback, and now Spencer Rattler's next up. I mean, and he's already got the head start on the Heisman. So this is reputation, Dan Mullen's reputation for Emory Jones, what Alabama has been able to do offensively over the last 4 years for Bryce Young. I'm not surprised by this list. Whether or not this list is accurate, it may be accurate, and I don't think that has anything to do with Bo, though, because I more than ever see Bo's production over the last 2 years and how much he has grown or not grown as a direct result of the coaching he was getting. We've seen game plans that was terrible. You didn't have a chance. If you step on the field and you don't have a chance to be successful, is that your fault? Even better, we all work jobs, to the lucky few who don't work jobs. God bless you. I hope to be there one day. If you are supposed to sell a product and your boss says, hey, we're selling it like this, and you're going to go in there and tell them we got A, B, and C, and you say, hey, listen, they don't want A, B, and C. They want X, Y, Z. No, I'm telling you, you got to go say it like this. You're going to go in there and fail because your boss didn't equip you to actually get that sale. What are you supposed to do? You're going to get in the huddle, in which we did not do under Gus, and say, hey, forget that. Here's what we're going to do. No, because then you're just not going to play anymore because you directly disobeyed the coach. So your hands are tied if you have to do things the way your coach asks you, and what your coach wants you to do will not work. What are you going to do? Now, is it possible that if you are just a transcendent talent, that you can take a bad coaching situation, bad coaching calls and bad game plans and turn them into something? Yes. Nick Marshall did that for 1.5 years, at least. He did, because he was that guy.
Was that dude.
The most eerie pocket presence I have ever seen. Like, he doesn't see this guy. Oh, now he's on the run. He must have saw him. How does he do that? He wasn't a great passer, but when the game was on the line, he made plays, man. We thought that was just a Gus thing. No, that was a Nick Marshall thing, because we didn't see anybody that dynamic the rest of the time after that. The offense never worked that well after Nick Marshall left. It worked well in 2017, but it wasn't about Nick Marshall. He also went away from that. He also went away from that offense too, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. Exactly. So I don't take what Bo has done to this point. I think he is not the covers all transgressions type of talent that a 5-star rating may suggest. We get some of those every now and then. Those guys exist. Cam Newton was that. It didn't matter where Cam Newton started. He would have won something. He was too big, too athletic, too dynamic to not win something. He was that guy. Johnny Manziel was that guy. Texas A&M didn't do much with it because Kevin Sumlin is one of the worst coaches ever. And y'all kind of gave him a little bit of a pass on one of the shows I missed. Said, oh, it wasn't all bad, Texas A&M. Yes, it was. It was bad. He was getting too much talent to not do anything with it. But Johnny Manziel was that guy. He was one of those guys. You can make the system better than it is. Bo Nix might not be that guy. Maybe we all hoped he was, but he's not. And maybe Gus hoped he was. And that's why he stuck with him. Like, listen, man, you just turned into the guy. Well, he's not that guy. What if Bo Nix is more Kellen Mond than he is Johnny Manziel? That's okay. But Kellen Mond needed a system. He was a very mediocre quarterback as well. He had his best year ever under somebody who, even though he's not a great head coach, he is a good head coach. Had a running game for him. He had a very good offensive line for him. He had a good defense for him. And Kellen Mond had his best year. A&M had their best season. It's possible to have success with Bo Nix at quarterback, but he can't be the all-world everything. I don't think he's that. It doesn't mean he can't be very successful. Kellen Mond just got drafted.
Yeah, that was exactly my point about Bo, though. Right? Yeah. Is that we don't need him to go out and win the Heisman. He doesn't have to be any of those guys for us to be successful. We just need a system that knows how to utilize what he does do well, keep his bad habits at bay, and then, accentuate the other parts of our offense that are going to be good.
Right.
If you got a great running back, all you need to be able to do is, if you can have a short passing game and then hit some deep threats now and then, you can take a lot of pressure off that running game, and Tank will run wild.
Right.
And I also think too, he's going to build confidence when you get him to focus on the things that he does well, instead of having him do something that he's probably not naturally all that great at. I think if you get him to focus on certain aspects of his game, he'll begin to hone in on it and build confidence there. I feel like he was asked to do a lot of things, and there wasn't an emphasis on what he could do well.
Well, I think again, the other thing to focus on, you're talking about a guy, because you're saying that Bo was may not be that guy, essentially is what you said, right? And I'm telling
all world, he may not be a transcendent talent,
right? And I blame Gus for this, because that's what he sold us.
That's true.
Facts.
He sold us that his freshman year.
Facts.
This guy's going to win championships. All that, he put that on him, and then everybody gets mad at me for saying, "Where is this all-world quarterback that our coach sold us?" I don't see it. And then we start to look at the numbers, and we were like, "Wait, he was never that guy. He was always sub 60 completion percentage."
Yeah.
He was always sub 60 completion percentage. His mechanics were always bad. He always threw off his back foot. He just got away with it in high school and could not get away with it in college. It caught up with him in college.
Right.
So even if he does have that sort of talent, if you see that potential, it was more raw than some other guys who came to Auburn to play.
Right.
I mean, listen, Nick, you're completing passes at a lesser clip almost than Nick Marshall. And he was he was a dynamic running quarterback. But you know what Nick did? He hit deep balls when he had to.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was it. We saw it all year. When he had to complete a pass downfield, he found a way to make it happen. Mm-hmm. Now, the prayer and Jordan Hare, I don't care what anybody say, that was a bad pass, and it was the wrong play to make. It just happened to work out. But
shut up.
But
great.
Nick was just, I saw Lawrence say that he doesn't think that Gus's coaching was bad with Nick. I respectfully disagree. I think that's just how good Nick Marshall was in that particular system. He made a lot of people miss in that backfield. He made a lot of things happen. And then when we go back and we look at the offensive line play from that year and the numbers, they weren't great. But we never saw it because Nick Marshall made magic happen in the
backfield. It was better.
I don't know.
For all of our insiders,
pass blocking was not great. We did
wait. But that's a different story, because if you can be great at run blocking, pass blocking gets easier. When you can run block great, everything else gets easier. And we could run block great. Not as good as we could in 2013. We couldn't. No, we could not.
Listen, first of all, I'm just telling you, the skill positions were a lot better during those years. And it took a lot of pressure off of that offensive line, because the skill positions that's not even an argument. The skill positions were phenomenal during those years. Running back, quarterback, receiver. We had it. And they made a lot happen out of nothing. And the same was true with Cam. The amount of times that Cam had to make people miss in the backfield to get passes off was astounding. We don't pay attention to it because the dynamic athlete that we put at quarterback covered it. Offensive lines have never been great under Gus. It's time to face that fact. They've never been great at pass blocking because the system always requires them to block more than is reasonable. That's how his offense is built.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And that's why
I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
but I think in fairness, I will give Malzahn some credit with Nick Marshall in that he didn't try to make Marshall drop back and throw. He says we can run. We got Trey Mason. We have Nick Marshall. We got Jay Prosh bulldozing and creating lanes for Mason. Let's run the ball. I remember when they played Tennessee on the road. I don't even know if Marshall threw more than 10 times. Like he played to the strengths of that team. And the idea was that Malzahn would be able to continue to do that with Jeremy Johnson. and other athletes. So I will give Malzahn credit for what he did with Nick Marshall, even though Nick Marshall does not get the credit he deserved for being an incredible athlete at the quarterback position.
Yeah, take Nick Marshall out of that situation, right? And the best that we've seen with all the skill positions even sort of equal is what Jarrett Stidham was able to accomplish.
Yeah.
Which his numbers didn't look world beater because the system was so bad.
True.
Right? Jarrett Stidham should have been I do think it's some other schools that he had gone to Oklahoma, he'd been a first round draft pick.
Yeah.
We get disillusioned by what we see them do at Auburn. I'm telling you.
I think he could have been.
Could have been a first round draft pick.
I think if he had stayed at Baylor, he probably would.
Yeah, could have been a first round draft pick.
They was loving him when he was at Baylor.
Mm-hmm. And the joke in NFL circles was they were just surprised we hadn't completely ruined him by the time that it was time for the draft. But Bill Belichick looked at him and said, I'll take this guy. So he clearly had talent. And that has not been a thing for Auburn quarterbacks, really, outside of a couple. The last quarterback we had drafted before Stidham was who?
Oh,
Cam. Right? In the last 12 years. Whoa. I mean, for a school like Auburn. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
In the last 10, 12 years, we've had 2 quarterbacks drafted. That's crazy for a school that recruits top 9 recruiting classes on average.
Yeah.
So either you're missing on the kids that you're picking, or you're not, or you're underdeveloping, or you're misevaluating. I put all that on the coach. That's what we hope that Harsin changes. That's all I'm saying. So if he looks at Bo and says, I see what Gus saw in this kid, here's how I'm going to do it. That's what I'm about. Because I think it will signal to other quarterback recruits, Bo's success will signal to other quarterback recruits that our coach knows what to do with quarterbacks.
Yeah. And that's the silver lining that's
the silver lining.
I'm hoping for.
Yeah,
I'm hoping for.
You've seen the project. You see the list. He's no higher than third tier on most lists, and people have him even lower than that.
Right.
So you come in here and you rebuild a team in 1 year. And even if we only go, 8-4 or 9-3, like I'm hoping. Listen, it doesn't matter. If Bo Nix is not the reason we are losing games, Harsin now has fuel for
yeah, right. Listen, that's my point.
That's a win.
If we don't have a game like South Carolina,
right,
at quarterback, from the quarterback perspective, so I'm happy with this season.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
I just don't think. I don't think that Bo has to. I'm in the camp. I keep saying it. That thinks that Bo has to go out and beat the world this year to prove his haters wrong. I don't think so. I think that he can go out and just have a regular year. He can go out there and be a game manager.
Just don't go out there and lose a game. Don't do what you did at South Carolina.
Right. Yeah. Use your athleticism more judiciously this year, and do not rely on it to make plays every other play.
Yeah.
Right. Because the quarterbacks who can do that and be successful are few.
Yeah.
I'm talking Patrick Mahomes, Cam Newton, Nick Marshall types that can rely on their athleticism literally every play. He's just not in that camp. But he did it in high school, so he probably. I see how you might think that can carry over. A good coach will settle your quarterback down and take that tape and be like, "Listen, son, you can't do this at this level. Right. Not all the time. Now we want you to use your God-given gifts to get out of trouble when necessary and make a play when we absolutely have to make one."
Yeah.
But the beauty of being a good quarterback is understanding that you do not have to make every play.
Right. Right.
But just make it. Just don't turn the ball over and punt the ball. Right. Make the right throw. Throw the ball out of bounds. I had one guy try to tell me that Bo threw the ball away 5+ times a game. I said, "Do you understand how crazy stupid that statement is? You think he threw the ball away 50 times last season?" And when I put it in perspective for him, he started changing the definition of a throwaway. And I was like, "No, man, the problem was he didn't throw the ball away enough." I wish he had thrown it away half of those times.
Yeah.
He would have had a much better season. So, you know, the mistakes, if he cuts the mistakes and he just works on the fundamentals, I think Auburn has a chance to have a solid season. That's where 8-4, possibly 9-3 comes from.
Yeah.
Because this defense, man, I'm telling you, they can average 6 to 7 more points a game. This defense can be ridiculous.
If the D line is what we hope it'll be, yes, watch out. Watch out.
I'm telling you, there's some special things to happen.
Let's go ahead and give away. This.
All right,
let's do this
listen.
drawing.
Yeah, hashtag Lutzy in the comments to enter the drawing. We're giving away this drawing of Philip Lustig-Kirkin, the great late Philip Lustig-Kirkin, a true Auburn man, had probably one of the most iconic touchdowns in Auburn football history. We talked about that 2010 Iron Bowl. We wanted to honor his memory tonight. Shout out to our guy, James Coleman. He's War Eagle in the comments for drawing this, along with some other dope drawings that he has that we'll be giving away, actually signed by those players. So I'm going to go ahead and without much further ado, pull this up here. And we're going to give this away. So last chance to get entered, hashtag Lutzy. We want you guys to get entered. We're going to draw this thing. I got 60 entries. I got 250 people in here, man, and 60 entries. So 63, yo, we're jumping up there. Hashtag Lutzy. If you just joined us, I'm going to give you guys just a few more seconds to jump in this.
Man, y'all tripping. 64.
Tripping. 2, 1. I'm drawing. Let's go. Who's it going to be tonight, fellas? Who's it going to be tonight? Somebody who hasn't won.
Come on now.
JT Martin. JT
Martin, where you at?
Yes, you have to be in the comments here to win.
We need to see you. We need to see you.
JT Martin. JT Martin, are you here?
We'll be patient. It's a bit of a delay, but you need to comment.
Yeah, if you are watching on a delay, speed it up.
How would they got to be able to speed?
I don't know.
Jump forward in time and catch up.
They're screwed.
Oh man, come on, JT. I know you're here, buddy. We got nobody left. Ooh, JT, this is gonna be.
You need to go ahead and upload some Jeopardy music when we get a winner.
Yeah, man. Wow, JT. I hate redrawing. I really do. Look at the countdown. You guys are stupid. 0. Oh man, listen, JT. I'm so sorry, buddy. I'm gonna draw this again right now. Draw again. We're running it. Somebody's got to be in these comments. You definitely want this. These pictures are all dope. Thanks, James, again, for sending it to us. I saw it pass JT. Gabrielle won! Gabby, are you here?
She got to be here because she's been commenting regularly.
Yeah, I'll pull for her every week. Gabrielle, don't do this to me. Sweetheart, don't do this to me.
We'll wait.
Don't do this to me. I'll root for you every week to win something and hold your name. Yeah, there she goes. All right.
There we go.
OMG, Gabrielle. Listen, email us your address, business@thewarreport.com. That's business@thewarreport.com, so we can get that picture out to you. We appreciate you. I'm going to put some funk on that. There'll be an extra little gift in there for you for being here every week and also being one of our insiders. We love to take care of our insiders. So congrats to Gabrielle for
congrats. Sorry, JT.
Tonight. Sorry, JT.
Real quick, rapid fire, guys, before we get out of here. Jonathan Harris, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much does the wide receiver drop scare you? Talk to me, be Will.
I'm not terribly concerned about any wide receiver or anything. Canyon look consistent. I like Canyon. We have not seen half of the guys we have on our roster at the wide receiver position. We have seen too little to be worried about it. I know Kobe had a couple drops last year with the little bit of time that he got, but we have not seen enough. If it was like we've seen 2 full seasons of these guys and everybody's dropping passes, I'm worried. But we're not there yet, so I'm not worried.
Mike G?
We actually, believe it or not, last year drops weren't that big of an issue in comparison to other schools in the league, right? I mean, we had an average amount of drops, so drops don't really scare me. I think this, if they get the timing right, and you give these guys some accurately placed balls, they'll make plays. If you ask Ike, he'll probably tell you as long as Shedrick's not in there, we'll probably be good. But I really think that we have a massively talented wide receiver core. And once they get out those first game jitters, you're going to see these guys. I'm looking forward to watching these guys dominate on Saturdays. I think we have some young guys that can dominate, and underestimate them at your own peril. Right. Shout out to my guy.
People are already doing it.
Listen, shout out to my guy Malcolm Johnson Jr. I'm really pulling for him. I watched his tape. I've been real high on him since the beginning as well too. I think that he showed some flashes of that in A-Day, being able to get behind the defense. Whether we got him the ball or not is a different story. But he showed that type, and we've got a few guys who can do that. So if you can teach them how to run the intermediate routes and then mix in tight ends, wow, man, listen, this could be a lot better than a lot of people are expecting. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 2 in terms of worry about that.
I'm like a 3. I mean, again, I'm excited. I want to see what Capers looks like when he gets back to health. We already seen what Canyon can do. I'm looking to see these guys just grow up. And I think you may see some drops early on just because these guys are in prime time positions that they haven't been because they've been behind guys since they've been at Auburn. But once they get their confidence up, once those guys get familiar with what they're doing and they can play fast, sky's the limit for this group. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in and watching the latest Wednesday Night War Room, brought to you in partnership with auburnsports.com. Please be sure to check those guys out. If you want some recruiting news, updates, or just some great columns, information as it pertains to Auburn athletics, Auburn Sports is where you should go. And guys, we definitely want you to continue to share our videos. Please be sure to do that. If you're on social media, use hashtag #GetYourWeight Please be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. And did we do any more announcements, Mike G?
Man, we're good. Listen, become an insider.
Become an insider.
Become an insider.
We will not forget it.
It's gonna be serious in a couple months.
It's gonna get so serious in about 4 weeks. We're very, and you know what? Our partnership with AL.com. I'm sorry, what did I say? AL.com with AuburnSports.com is
money. We gonna lose money already, Mike. Come on, man. JG, if you're still here, AuburnSports.com. Our partnership with them reflects how serious it's going to get in 4 weeks, right? Like those guys have really recognized and acknowledged the work that we're doing. We recognize game, we recognize them in return. So let that be the warning shot here that you're definitely not going to want to miss this content coming up in the next month or so. Indeed.
So definitely become a paid subscriber, guys, and join the fam. Also, guys, if you're out there on social media, if you're on Twitter and Instagram, you can find us at the War Rapport. We're a TW Report on TikTok. That's it for now, but guys, we will see you soon. And as always, it's War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.